Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Imagine with all your mind, believe with all your hearts, achieve with all your might. Positive action combined with positive thinking results in success. A warm good morning to everyone. It's an honor itself to honor this charming and beautiful audience today. I, Miss Hadia, and
I'm Miss Hania.
welcome you all on behalf of NIMS family to this 16th Human Library session. Positive mind, positive vibes, positive life.
Education is not an allegation of knowledge, but the formation of character. We roll down a cover of welcome to all dignitaries, guests, parents, invitees, well-wishers, and friends. Thank you all for giving us your precious time. Hadia, do you have any idea of the special people with us today?
Yes, but
Don't let the cat out of the bag. Let it be a surprise.
yeah, well said. One of the best ways to persuade others is with your ears by listening to them. Without further ado, let's kickstart today's event by invoking the grace of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. Let's listen to the verses from the Holy Quran.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
والعصر
By time,
إن الإنسان لفي خسر
indeed mankind is in loss,
إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
except for those who have believed and done righteous deeds, and advised each other to truth, and advised each other to patience.
Now it's time to know more about our chief guest. Hania, yesterday I read a news article in College Times.
What was it?
Golden Jubilee. These Emiratis expats are celebrating their 50th birthday on 50th National Day.
Oh, yes. Thinking about this, what is news? Can you state the full form of news?
News, north, east, west, south, and definition, let me think. It's a part of communication that keep us informed one of the changing events, issues, and characters in the world outside.
Do you have any idea how are we able to get the news?
A lot of news will come to us through a journalist without any real effort on our part.
Exactly. Do you know the difference between an ordinary news story and a great one?
Certainly, it's often not just the facts that the journalist includes, but the way in which the journalist tells those facts.
Curiosity, critical thinking, a hunger for news, a burning desire to tell a good story regardless of the medium or platform, and a dedication to accuracy, fairness, all these qualities make someone special and unique. Today, we are blessed with such a presence. Now it's time to introduce the chief guest of the day. Let me welcome Ms. Danusha Gogulan, the principal correspondent in Khalij Times, Dubai.
Dhanisha Gokulan is an award winning freelance writer, journalist, and an author with a passion for telling stories about social justice and environmental issues. She has been working as a journalist for news organizations in India and the UAE for a little over 10 years. With a keen interest in issues that plague the common person, she tries her utmost to never turn down a human interest story. In her current role as a principal correspondent in Kalish Times, she covers the community, education, and health beats. Science is the most stereotypically respected field in society till date. There are millions of students pursuing this or who dream to pursue this field. Typical parents do know only two kinds of career they dream to see their child achieving: the career of doctors and engineers. Why are you interested in this profession and travel the road not taken by many?
Hi, Hadia, and thank you everyone for having me over. So, before I start telling you about why I'm interested in this profession, I'll just tell you a few things about myself. I am Danusha Gokulan. I work for a newspaper called Khaleej Times here in the UAE. I'm a principal correspondent with them, and I write about civil aviation and Indian diplomatic relations between the India and UAE. And I also write about civil affairs, humanitarian issues, as well as various other issues that are plagued by the common man here. Now, why I got interested in this profession is because being a journalist was something I knew I always wanted to do. I think I figured it out when I turned 13 or 14. So my grandfather was also a journalist. Our family used to run a newspaper back home in India, where I'm from. And most of my inspiration came from, from him, from the work that he did and the kind of people that he was helping. And so right from, like, I think grade 7, grade 8, I knew I wanted to be a journalist, and I worked towards it quite passionately. After I finished my grade 12 here in Dubai, I studied at a school in Sharjah, actually, in Sharjah, Harun English High School, Sharjah, and then I graduated in 2005. And I went on to do my Bachelor of Arts at St. Aloysius School in Mangalore, India. Over there, I did my graduate studies in three subjects: in journalism, English literature, and economics. So, i- though there was a lot of inbuilt passion to follow this line of work, um, my grandfather was a fundamental reason why I wanted to pick up journalism. But I think I always had this innate curiosity to figure out how things work, how the world takes, how people work. And I think that's fundamental for any journalist to succeed in their line of work, to have this to one is to have curiosity, and the second thing is, brave enough to ask why things work the way it does. So both these categories clicked for me, and so yeah, those I would say are very driving factors of mine.
Oh, that was so great, Dhanusha, ma'am. In your opinion, what do you think of the roles and responsibilities of a journalist?
Okay, so that's a tough question to answer because journalism has changed so much with the advent of social media, right? Especially in the last 5 to 10 years. So I'll explain the fundamental roles of a journalist. So what journalists do is we gather information, and we gather that information from different sources. It can be from government departments, it can be from presidents of states of different countries, it can be from regular people, everyday day-to-day people. That's your drivers, or your people who help you out, your grocery delivery guys, your doctors, your nurses. So what journalists do is we fundamentally gather all of the information that they have to give us, uh, or even students such as yourself. So we take down information on what you're going through, what your problems are, what your dreams are, what your aspirations are, and we present that news. We write that out. Or so since I'm a print journalist, what I do is I write what the information that is given to me, and I present it in a manner that is, one, easy to understand, and it is widely accepted by a mass audience. Now, I think this particular job comes with a lot of responsibility. So I cannot write whatever I feel like. You know, not only will I end up offending people and hurting the sentiments of people, but what I could also do is spread misinformation or like fake news. So I have to be 100% sure that whatever news that I present, it is honest, and it is balanced, and it is unbiased. That is, I'm not taking anyone's side. So I'll give you an example to explain this better. For example, um, your school has said, or your school is attempting to break a Guinness World Record in creating, I don't know, let's say a giant mural of the UAE national flag. So you invite me as a journalist to come and have a look at it. Okay. So now I what my job is when I come there, I have to ensure that your claim has been met. So not only do I have to speak with the teachers, the school principal, and the students who participated in the making of that flag, or the making of, or the attempting of the record, but I also have to speak to the educators. That is your either your Guinness Book of World Records or your India Book of Records, whatever the record that um, you are list or you are you're participating for, or you want to appear in the book of. I have to get the confirmation from them that you have done it. So then it's 100% on point. You understand that, right? So it's my job is to ensure. Otherwise, tomorrow what will happen is, if I don't do my homework properly, or if I don't confirm that what you have told me is 100% true, and I have to back my facts with pictures and videos, because a picture speaks 1,000 words. One photo is equivalent to like 1,000 words of my story. So that is proof in itself, right? That okay, this has actually happened, and the educators' comments for my story. So that is essentially my job. It has to be 100% factually accurate. And tomorrow, or in fact right now, since the speed of uploading stories on the internet is so fast, within 5 minutes there are times where I've made small mistakes, and within seconds there are readers who send me an email and say, hey, you know what, you made a mistake, that is not how it is, you have been factually incorrect. I'm responsible to those people, because a lot of time people make valuable decisions based on what I write. So yes, so that I would say is the role, or the importance, or the fundamental roles of a journalist.
I'm sure that was so informative for our listeners. What major challenge did you face during your walk of life? How did you handle it?
Okay, so that's also a very tricky question, because if I can be honest with you, I think every day is very challenging, and not just in our line of work, but I think pretty much in every line of work. But more so, I feel one of the greatest challenges in a journalist line of work is, so it's also a challenge and it's also a blessing, because the amount of people that you get to meet every day. Honest, if I can be honest with you, I speak to an average of at least 10 to 12 people every day, which is a lot more than the average person. So one of the bigger issues, though I have told you that it is the most important part of my job, there are a lot of times that people don't want to talk to journalists, because they find us very nosy, or they find us very annoying, and a lot of times that's how the popular culture also presents us. Like, you know what, these journalists are super annoying, they call you and annoy you and ask you 100 questions. You have to keep trying, you have to, like, you can't give up easily. There are times when I've waited 5 to 6 hours for someone to respond to my call or speak to me. One of the other challenges I feel I face, like why I've worked in India, and I've worked here in Dubai as well, in UAE, both for like somewhat equal amounts of time. But UAE is a great country for women journalists, I must say that, because we are all provided equal opportunities. We are provided equal platform to grow, whereas my colleagues in other countries and other parts across the world will not be able to say the same thing, because they face so many challenges with regards of their safety, like especially personal safety and issues like that. But over here, I've never faced a problem, and a lot of my colleagues will also say this, that it is much easier to work in this part of the world as a woman, because you have the opportunities are equal, it's much safer, and you are not discriminated against for just being a woman. So I think that's pretty amazing. So I don't face any challenges on that front. Uh, Mostly it is about uh, time management. That is something I have a problem with also, and that because our work is so fast, every second and every minute of your day counts. So if I spend too much time on one story, or if I spend story is an article that finally gets published in either the paper or the website, then I lose out on valuable time, and that snowballs into a bigger challenge at the end of the day. So those are some personal challenges that I think a lot of journalists would face. But one of the bigger things is, of course, you know, constantly improving my communication skills. That has been a personal challenge that I think that I'm slowly still learning to overcome. And getting an official to speak to me, that is also a day-to-day challenge that I face. And combating fake news is another big challenge. So I think, yeah, these are just few of the challenges off the top of my head that I can remember.
And one last question. Today, journalism stands not only for a prestigious profession, but also for a challenging career option. So, what other advices would you like to give to our parents and the students who are listening?
Okay, that's I think that's a very important question that you asked me. And I know in the beginning of our talk, you said, a lot of parents go for stereotypical options such as science or doctors or engineers. So something that is interesting about journalism is that you can do it in any point in your life. You just need to have curiosity and the ability to read and to write a little bit, right? And present in a language that you are most comfortable with. um, so there is a lot of vernacular journalism also. English is not the only form in which you can present news. If you're strong with Malayalam, that is an option you can consider. If you're strong with Hindi, there are a lot of Hindi news channels that you can look into, and even like other foreign languages such as French or German, because newspapers, the common thing about news organizations is that they're spread all over the world. You don't specifically need to be an expert in one language such as English to really grow in journalism. You get what I'm saying? So, and you don't, another thing is, just because your parents are asking you to take science in your 11th and 12th, I don't think that's a bad thing. Honestly, I wish I had taken science, because I took commerce when I was in 11th and 12th. I did commerce with home science actually, because I wanted my marks to go up. But I honestly, now when I look back at things, I wish I had taken science, because there's so much that my classmates who learned during that time, they're putting it to use even now. Because a lot of what you learn in science today, or in science during your school years, are constantly put into use uh, in your growing up years. So for me, it didn't help, because like anything science related came up, I would always be confused. So I had to go back and learn what my friends learned way back then. And now the rate at which science and technology is moving, it's always good to know a lot more about how that world functions, at least the basics of how science, how the basics of chemistry, physics and biology. Because look at COVID right now. Honestly, I wish if I had known like human biology better, I would have been able to understand this disease better. But while I was reporting for COVID, in fact, I think COVID was one of the biggest challenges of my career, because since honestly, I think since March 2020, I've not had any breaks. Like I've had to work non-stop ever since the pandemic broke. Um, and I wish I had, understood a lot of things about lung functions, about how the heart functions. So I had to actually go back and learn all of that to become a better reporter. So if I had known a little bit of science, or if I had like at least bothered like looking into it properly during my school years, I feel I wouldn't have struggled now. But it's okay. I mean, if every child, every student, or every individual has their own aptitude, but it is very important that we keep a open mind. Like I was very dismissive. Like I said, I'm not going to study science. It's very boring for me. What is this trigonometry and all? I don't want to know it. But it helps because you use a lot of those tools and a lot of that information and a lot of that learning in your day-to-day life. So if you enter a stream where you're only learning commerce, if you're doing your accounts, economics, does not mean you don't learn a little bit of chemistry and biology. Like you ask your students in the other stream, like, hey, can I have your textbook? Can I just read through it and see how things work? It's just, and right now you don't even need to do that because everything is on the internet. So anytime you get some free time, sit and go through, how does this function, how does that function, like how does that having that curiosity for how small things on the planet function is very important. So you have to have that innate curiosity for things and the need to answer those questions. And I think that will work with any line of work, not just journalism. So for you, I think, for students, that will be my uh, biggest line of advice that I can give you is to have curiosity, the want and the desire to learn everything, and to be an avid reader. Don't like, though there is the internet right now, and I should also practice this, to be honest, because I've not read a book in so long. Like, at least once in 2 weeks, try and read a book, because they are such storehouses of energy. It's super important. And the third thing I would tell you is keep an active lifestyle, because the older you grow, I feel the more you're in front of your computer doing all your assignments and work and everything. But what they teach you in school is 100% correct. Sports is so important. You have to be out and about. You have to run, get your bloodstream running, get your blood pumping. And being active in and learning a sport also has so many benefits, because you learn teamwork, you learn coordination, your motor skills are much better. So these are from my personal experience. Obviously, other people will tell you something else. Like, from my personal experiences, I feel if I had learned a lot of this, I would have been a little bit more successful. I mean, I don't think I'm a loser right now. I think I've been blessed with a lot of lovely things and a good life. But I wish I was a little more active in sports. And I really wish I had shown some more interest towards other fields of study, like science or math, or even like the fine arts, for that matter of fact, because all of that comes into use sometime in your life. I hope that helped, Hadia.
Yes, surely, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Your words have inspired us a lot and has given us a new perspective of life.
Amazing. Thank you, Hadia. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring words. Hadia, what do you want to be?
I want to travel the road not taken by many.
Me too. I definitely choose the one less traveled by.
Never doubt what you can do, because you can do anything you set your mind to. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Tomorrow is too late. Yesterday is over, and now is exactly the right moment to start. What about watching a small video now?
Hey, welcome. I'm Reba and I am your tour guide. Welcome to the indulgent United Arab Emirates. Hi Reba, I'm here for research regarding the Arab hospitality. Oh, I see. Okay, let's crush this. Yeah, chop chop. How do I show hospitality to an Arab visitor in my home? The answer to your question is simple. Be as hospitable as you can. Most Arabs tend to be a bit conservative and won't readily accept an invitation to a private home. So, insisting that they come will show that you are sincere. If your Arab guests have already accepted your invitation, done. It means They want to get to know you better. Just be yourself. If your Arab visitor is Muslim, then things you will want to keep in mind. Muslims are forbidden from consuming pork or alcohol. Briefly, mention that you considered this beforehand and that you prepared dishes without those ingredients. If you do serve pork or alcohol, clearly point out the foods that contain it. Your guests will really appreciate this gesture, since they might be too shy to ask and then hesitate to try your cooking. Serving food is always a good sign of hospitality and generosity. So send out the invitations and encourage your guests to try all your favorite dishes. That's it. Thank you so much for cooperating with me to complete the project.
Have any clue about the person behind this?
Hmm.
She is none other than brilliant Miss Nahida, a multi talented student who has polished all her skills in several areas and has created her own platform of success. We are very glad to introduce you, the young achiever Nahida Najmuddin, who has dared to dream, believed, and achieved.
Nahida Najmuddin, grade 11 student of NIMS Dubai, made her way to the India Book of Records by directing and editing the maximum number of short films. She directed and edited 17 short films and released them on social media during lockdown days at the age of 16. Let's have a sneak peek at her achievements.
Hello all, this is Naida Najmuddin, the young achiever of India Book of Records from grade 11 and New Indian Model School, Dubai. And it's a great pleasure to join with Human Library in today's session.
How did you feel when you got into the India Book of Records? What were your vibes?
So I felt really honored when I got into this India Book of Records, where I got a space with many celebrities and many great personalities. And it was also a great pleasure when my 17 short films got certified by the Student Film Board. And recently, I got nominated for the University of East London Animation Awards. And all these achievements are really motivating me. It really motivated me to go ahead, to move ahead with my passion.
Do you think it is essential to go to a film institute in order to become a successful filmmaker?
As per my point of view, I don't think it's really mandatory to go to a professional learning school, because I didn't. But when we approach to an advanced level of this profession, I think getting a backup from these professional schools might be good, might be better. Moreover, everything, it depends on the person and his or her passion and capabilities.
What was the hardest artistic choice you have made in making any of your films at any stage in production? Or describe yourself in place of a director and specify some of the qualities you had.
Okay, so being a young filmmaker, when you make up a short film, according to my experience, I think there are like 3 steps. And the very first one is pre-planning. Like, you got an idea to make up a short film, you have to plan, like how are you going to film it, how are you going to edit it, the casting, everything. So I think I have done well in that section, like pre-planning what to do.
If you were to shoot another film again, what would you do differently? Or tell us more about your upcoming projects.
I think I will do something on fantasy. I love this genre and I haven't done many short films in this genre. So I'll go for something which focuses on this theme fantasy. And then talking about my upcoming projects, being the director of Mission Green, there are a lot more in the pipeline which comes up with this theme of Mission Green. So we have to stay tuned.
Thank you so much, Nehida, for sharing your inspirational stories. And I'm absolutely sure that young leaders out there will take you as their source of inspiration in their life. Congratulations and heaps of praises to our young filmmaker Nahida. The people who succeed aren't the ones who avoid failure. They are the ones who learn how to respond to failure with optimism and a positive mind. Always radiate positive vibes. Rise up and face the day full of enthusiasm and life.
Rivers never go reverse. So try to live like a river. Forget your past and focus on your future. Always be positive. You're braver than you believe and stronger than you seem and smarter than you think. We would like to end the session with endless hope and frozen determination that can never be melted.
Thank you all and have a splendid day. See you. Until then, this is Hadia and
Hanya signing off.